I had to get permission from that woman out there, Madeline Taylor, before I made this announcement the way I want to make it. It gives me great pleasure, first of all, to be able to bestow this upon you. I know your nickname is SOG, but you fought the tournament like a DOG, and we've talked about that before. And if I can just get this open.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I apologize.
It's
great honor.
It's now the ding belt.
It gives me great honor to bestow this upon you, Andre. You really earned it. Every fight you just dug in, and you know we've talked about this before. It gives me great pleasure to bestow the ring belt upon you as ring champion.
Woo, woo. Robbie, where's that microphone? Yeah, pull it out so he...
I told you, bro.
Here, Andre.
It's your words, baby.
Well, hold on for a second because we got one other presentation. Hey, Lem, put that, one of the guys, put that over there, okay? Yeah, I know, just right over there right now. Where's Virg, James, Antonio? Where are you guys? Come on, Virg, just over here because this is special. This is special. Over there, Virg, okay? Come on, get with your fighter, okay? You've spent 50 years with them already, okay? And well, you don't want to be that close? Those pictures that I saw tonight, the Showtime did, you look just the same as you did when he was 9 years old. Come on, Bob. Up here, come on. Come on. Where's James? Okay. Andre, I got to tell you, will you stop looking at that now? Okay, we're going with something else, okay? You got 18 million belts, okay? You don't have a cup, okay?
Oh, man, where you going to put all? You in the belt collecting business.
Yeah. You know, the only thing I'm wondering about, Virg, how come we don't get a cup or anything? I know it. I mean, it's, you know, we're holding the cup. Andre, from my end, it's just been an honor to work with you. You epitomize toughness and great athletic skills in that ring. On behalf of Antonio, James, Virg, Jack, I mean the whole team, we've all done it together. It's taken the team to do it, but you to anchor it. Watching you in that ring tonight, it was masterful. You made us all proud. We got many, many good years left because you put a whipping on Carl Froch tonight. I want to give you this tournament cup, the inaugural Super 6 tournament cup that you set your sight on right when we announced it and when you first put the gloves on against Mikkel Kessler. Andre, this is yours. Andre Ward.
I just want to thank God again for just giving me this opportunity, not just this win tonight, but just from day one putting the right team around me. You know, you got a lot of great talents in this sport, and they can have a manager that's not good for them, a promoter that's not good for them. They can get rushed and get in a bad situation, and you never see what that kid really has because he got rushed and put in a bad situation. And I didn't have that. You know, from day one, I had a great manager, James Prince, who I know for a fact is the best in the business, not because we won this tournament, but because when nobody's looking, he's fighting for his fighter. When no reporters are around, nobody's looking, he's fighting for his fighter. And on top of that, he's teaching me the game. And, you know, I appreciate that. I appreciate my promoter, Dan Goossen. I don't really do good with, not people, but, you know, promoters trying to tell me what to do in terms of, you know, trying to force me into a situation. And Dan's not that kind of guy. He's laid back. He gives his opinion. We talk about it as a team, and we make team decisions. And I'm thankful for Dan. Antonio Leonard came on board a few years ago and done a tremendous job. Him and Dan Goossen are, you know, they work hand in hand. Obviously, my coach, man, I just thank God for him because he has to deal with me when I'm in training camp, away from my family, and sometimes my attitude isn't the best because I'm ready to fight, and you know, I'm just in a situation where I'm training, and you know, he puts up with me, and I thank God for it. And above all else, man, this guy right here believes in me. He believed in me when I was a kid, and from day one, he's always told me I was the best, and nothing he's told me hasn't come true. And I'm just thankful, man. This is not the end. It's really the beginning for us. We're going to get better, and believe it or not, you guys haven't seen the best Andre Ward. I'm still growing. I'm still a young fighter. I still got a long way to go. And, you know, to all the negative press that I've gotten, thank you. I need it. It keeps me hungry. It keeps me humble. It keeps me focused. And all the positive press, I appreciate it as well. I take my hat off to Carl Froch. I got nothing bad to say about him. I thank the UK fans. I thank my wife, my family, my friends, everybody back home at the well that was praying for me. I mean, the support, the text messages I got was overwhelming. I'm thankful to Showtime, and I'm just looking forward to the next chapter of my life and the next chapter on this journey. Thank you guys for coming out.
That's great, Andre. Also, I'd like to get Tom Brown up here, Craig Goossen, Jeff Freed. Come on up, you guys. Hurry up, please. Because, you know, Tom Brown, my brother-in-law, my matchmaker. Where's Stephen? Hey. And Stephen Espinosa, I'm going to bring you up in a second, Stephen, in 2 seconds. What I want to do, I want to bring up James Prince real quickly, say a few words, because Andre kind of mentioned it before. Long before any of us knew who Andre Ward was, long before he won the gold medal, this is the man that was telling everyone that he was going to win the gold medal and then come back and be a great world champion. And boy, were you right on with that, James. Let me give a big round of applause to James Prince. James.
I'd like to thank God for this opportunity. Of course, Goossen and my man Antonio, you all done a fabulous job along this journey. And Virgil, you know, you've been great. He the one brought me on board. And man, you know, I said in the press conference, no weapon formed against us will prosper. And that's reality right now, because this man is a child of God outside the ring and inside the ring. You know what I mean? He live it. He don't just talk it, he live it. And he's somebody I look up to, and a strong, solid man. So I'm proud of him, man. I don't know what the refs was looking at tonight with a score of 115. Yeah, 115, 113, right? Two of them. So I don't know what, if they was Ken and Stevie Wonder or what. I don't know what was happening. But I know we all saw the truth. And once again, you know, to Tiffany, his family, you know, because they have a strong lady in this corner. Hey, man, it's been a beautiful journey, and it's just beginning. We're looking for bigger and better things in the future. So I'm just licking my chops right now. Thank you. May God get the glory.
Thank you very much, James. And James, you know, make sure when you call me out in the future that none of my brothers are around, because if you say Goossen, you'll have 10 people say yes. I want to now bring up my partner. When I knew him, he was wearing sweatsuits when I first met him. Now he looks like Liberace in these outfits, okay? I mean, I don't know what but he's a good man. He's behind the scenes always doing things, and just making this team solid as it is, and being a right and a left-hand man to Dan Goossen, the whole Goossen tutor team. Antonio Leonard. Antonio.
Thank you, Dan. Well, I'm going to keep it short because I do talk a lot. But I'll just tell you that I've been in the promoting business for 22 years. And I don't work with the Floyd Mayweathers, the Winky Wrights, you name it, Diego Corrales, all the best fighters from Roy Jones. And I can tell you, and I say it all the time, in 2002, that's when Andre Ward came in me and Jay life. And in 2004, we brought him in Dan Goossen life. But he told us in 2002 that I'm going to go win y'all a gold medal. And he done that. And it's been a beautiful journey. But one thing I can say, with all that being said, with all the guys that I done been involved with, if I never ever work with another fighter, Dre, you done completed me as to what I have to do. Because I am proud to be with you, because we did it from the beginning. And we did it together, man. And what's so good about it, he's a good man, and I have learned so much from him. When you see a man that lives in Christ's life, it's so blessing. It's hard to do, and he able to do it. But I can tell you, though, it's some blessing. I'm a believer. I'm going to tell you, man. So with all that being said, man, you is fantastic. I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you very much, Antonio. That was short. See, I got to tell you, I thought you were going to say, hey, congratulations. That was it. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry, okay? That's all right. I understand that, okay? Hey, look. Oh, let's stop everything right now, okay? Then get the hell out, okay? Don't, hey, this is how we're going to do it, okay? This is how we're going to do it. Okay? Gee, did I cuss there? I don't think I did, no. Well, Virgil, he's really put a sour, tone on your speech, I got to tell you. Yeah, probably, yeah. Look, I said it before he came out here. I said he should be the trainer of the year. I think he's the best trainer in the business today. He's done a miraculous job, he and Andre, since he's been 9 years old, Andre. I want to bring him up. Virgil Hunter. Virg. That didn't work. Did this guy shut it off?
Okay.
Be careful.
I'll be very brief. I'd like to thank everybody that was involved in this event tonight. And I would like to give a shout out to everybody who came to see us, my Rap-A-Lot family, my immediate family, my grandchildren, my daughter-in-law, my niece, everybody who came to support us. And I really thank you guys for coming. It was a good fight. It was a tough fight. Andre and I will talk next week. He's not always happy. I'm never happy, because we know we have a long way to go, and we know that the ones that are coming up behind us are hungry lions, and we can't forget that. This is a great moment, and we'll revel in it for today and tomorrow. And then we have to assess the great fighters that are coming up behind us, because these moments are very, very contagious. And I can remember when we were on this end, looking at this end, and saying that we wanted to be here. But once you get here, you got to hold off the charge. And the charges that are coming behind are real charges and no jokes. So that's my job, to continue to go. I hope that I'm blessed to live long enough to sit on a stoop for a few years, and then I can reflect and glory in all the things that have happened in my life once I met this young man, this boy right here. I always go back to when he was 9 years old, when I first laid eyes on him. And I mean, I just never imagined until we started working together, maybe 6 months or a year, that all these things would begin to happen. I felt it. I knew it was going to be a journey, and the journey came true. It's still a journey. It's not complete. But when it's all said and done, I hope he gets his rightful place in boxing history. Some of the things that are being said about me now, humbling, but I respect all of the mighty and great coaches that are out there. And the one thing I stand for the most are all the coaches that have come up in my fraternity, from the from 2000 and from 1996 up to 2004, when we used to hear all the time, you know, when your fighter turns pro, you got to give him to another coach to take him to another level. And we never believed that, because we already had our kids at 15 and 16 whooping their kids already. So we never believed that. We never bought into it. And today, when you look at the Andre Bertos, the Anthony Durrells, the Carl Lamont Petersons and things like that, Carl Dargans and things, it's proven that, you know, you can only be successful in this business going from the root to the fruit. We know how to not only fire the gun, we know how to make the gun. So we gunning after every big-time coach that never went and suffered with a little young kid that lost just a trophy, a young kid that lost a little tournament when nobody was there, wasn't no money on the line, spending your hard-earned money going to these tournaments and going to these hotels and going to all these different trips and things like that. That's what comes back to me, the journey that it took. And until you take that type of journey, then I think you'll never really truly understand boxing. Maybe you might be handed a champion and you can polish him up a little bit, but I'm glad to mine for the diamond and then polish the diamond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Virg. Real quickly, no, we're going to go to the questions in 2 minutes. I want to bring up Steven Espinoza, the General Manager, Vice President of Showtime. Where are you, Steven? Steven, congratulations. Great to have you on board. What do you think about your new champ right here?
Well, on behalf of the entire Showtime family, I'd like to congratulate Andre. It was masterful, there's no doubt about it. No one cannot deny that. And perhaps more importantly, you've been a pleasure to work with. Your entire camp has been a pleasure to work with. You know, you're a respectful, classy, you know, athlete inside, outside of the ring. We congratulate you. We're proud to have you as Super 6 champion. I would also be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge Carl Froch, who was a true warrior this evening. For every second of every round, he fought his heart out. He has nothing to hang his head up. And I would be proud to put him on the network again. And finally, for Andre Ward fans and boxing fans everywhere, just want to point out we will be replaying this fight again Tuesday, 10 p.m., Showtime Extreme. Show Extreme will be replaying it. You can see it in its entirety. And Andre, there you can enjoy a different perspective on the fight. All right. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much, Steven. I think we get paid for that rebroadcast. Okay. I understand Carl Froch is here. Look, he was classy outside the ring, great inside of it. I want to bring him up. Carl Froch. Carl. And his promoter, Eddie Hearn. Terrific team. Robert McCracken, his trainer. Yes, you guys sit here. Come on, Carl. Tremendous performance, Carl. Okay. Now, no one's really asked any questions yet, so is he from UK? Huh? Okay. Well, good. We may throw you out. You keep on talking. Why don't you grab the? Hey, look, I'm not. Just let Carl say a few words, okay? Can you pull that out? Yeah, just straight out. Yeah. Carl.
Yeah, I'm bitterly disappointed. Obviously, I've lost my title, and I've lost a chance to win another title and the Super 6 Cup, as it's called. But I'm at the end of a wonderful run of fights. I've had 6, 7 fights on the spin, all at top level, and you know you can't win them all at this level. World-class level fights. You know, elite level fighters get beat. I don't want to put myself up there with Sugar Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali and you know some of the top level fighters, but they all get beat and they all come back. I've been beat before and I'll come back stronger. I was in against a very, very tricky, very slick, very awkward, very good fighter tonight. You know, I take nothing away from Andre Ward. He's very good at not getting hit. He's very good at keeping himself out of harm's way. He's like a slippery eel in there sometimes, and you know that's what boxing's about. It's about not getting hit, and he kept himself in the safe zone. And I was unable to unleash my power punches consecutively, which I feel that if I was able to do, I would have got to him. But you know, that's credit to Andre Ward for doing what he did in there. He he fought the better fight on the night, and I've got no excuses at all. But I'll come back, I'll be stronger, I'll grow from that. And you know, I felt fit and strong, and the further the fight went on, I felt like I was getting into the fight. I think that's how the scoreline suggested the fight went. As the fight went on, I was getting into it. I was winning the late rounds, and I've said before about 15-round fights. I know it's not 15 rounds, it's 12 rounds, but I'm certainly a 15-round fighter. So to make up for that, what I need to do is I need to start faster and stronger. Round 1, 2 and 3, I was too slow out of the blocks. I was too casual, sat back trying to box with him, and it was a little bit too quick for me. So I should have pushed him on his back foot, started stronger, started faster, and then maybe when he was breathing heavy in round 10 and 11, he would have been breathing heavy in round 6 and 7 and 8 instead, and then I would have eventually caught up with him. But who knows? I mean, 12-round sport. He won the fight on points. I lost. I think I'm the closest card to come. You know, 2 of the judges' scorecards, if I remember right, it was 115, 113. Is that right? So, you know, 2 of the scorecards was very, very close. Whether or not everybody agrees with that, I don't know. Someone might have something to say about the scores, but all I am saying is I'm the closest man to come to defeating Andre Ward, who's a very good fighter. He really is. Open the floor to questions.
I'm supposed to say that, Carl.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry for stealing your lines.
Any questions?
Right here, Dan.
No. He's been asking to ask questions, okay? I want him to ask one now.
There you go. Better be good.
Kevin, you all right, mate? How you doing, Kevin? You all right? That was good. Yeah, thanks for that. I think the slow start and then being a little bit over anxious and over eager up close. When Andre was ducking and slipping and rolling up close, I was going over the top of his head, swinging shots and missing at times. I mean, obviously I need to watch the fight back. When I get back to England, and then I can draw more assessment and take more from my performance. But I felt like I was missing with a lot in there tonight. But that's obviously what Andre does. He makes you miss.
My question is for Andre. Danny, you want to take this? Andre, right over here. Congratulations on your victory. With this win, I don't think it's going to be any surprise that you're going to most likely, I can't imagine any other outcome, you're going to be named the 2011 Fighter of the Year. Your thoughts if that comes to pass? I have one other.
I heard some rumblings about that before the fight. Obviously, that's not something I can focus on, you know, before this fight. But if that comes true, that's unbelievable. You know, that's unbelievable. I mean, you know, you don't set out to do that when the year starts. You just put your head down and you put in the work, and then you look up and you know, hopefully you win an award like that. So if we can get that award on top of everything else we won tonight, just be an unbelievable year.
What's that?
The other question I have for you is, I think a lot of people here thought that you won the fight, no disrespect to Carl whatsoever, but that you won the fight very lopsided, more along the lines of the 118 to 110 scorecard than the 2 that were 115 to 113. What were your thoughts when you heard that those 2 scorecards were so close?
I wasn't surprised. If I'm not mistaken, we had a judge from Canada, a judge from England, and a judge from the U.S.
Scored for you very wide.
The UK judge had it 118,
That's
110.
interesting. But I mean, you know, when I'm in a fight like that, it feels like it's a tight fight, and like Carl said, you have to go home and watch the tape. Even when I fought Abraham, you know, the first 3 or 4 rounds were tight, and I pulled away down the stretch, but it still felt like a tight fight for some reason. And everybody's, you know, getting excited after, you know, the last bell is sounded, and I'm not gonna believe it until I get my hand raised. So to me, it feels like a tight fight, but again, you know, from what I'm hearing, some people say it was lopsided. I got to go back and watch it just to, you know, to see exactly what I scored. But I've had a few people, legitimate people, say, hey, I had it, you know, 10 rounds to 2, maybe 9 rounds to 3. I don't know. I got to go back and watch the tape.
Let's do this young man right over here. He's been polite. Sorry, Lem.
Sir. Yeah, sorry. You mentioned briefly, Carl, that you've had a lot of very, very hard fights. What's next for you? I mean, do you try and do a one back in Nottingham, do you think? A safer one maybe? Or what's next on the agenda, do you think, Carl?
I definitely want to fight back in England, back at home, that's for sure, but I'll let Eddie answer that one, actually.
Oh no, yeah. Obviously, the Super Six has brought us many things. It's been a great tournament, but what it does do is it takes away your power to really map out your own future, and it feels quite nice to have the shackles off, if you like, and mean that we're back in control of Carl's career. Like I say, the Super Six has been fantastic, and it's given him the fights that he's had and everyone talks about. But for us, it's been a long time, fighting away from home since the Durrell fight, and the support that the press in the UK and obviously Sky have given him have made him one of the country's British fighters. So people want to see him return. You always know what kind of fight you're going to get with Carl Froch. So, we're speaking to Butte, and obviously the Kessler fight is a great fight, a great rematch. So, but for us, it would be nice to do something back in Nottingham and in the City Ground.
Carl, oh, sorry. Hey, Carl, and this is for Carl and Andre. Carl and Robert, you both acknowledged that in the Kessler fight, you let Kessler get going early and that was a mistake. It seemed like that was kind of what you're talking about tonight. And then also the left hook, both of you. How much did that bother you early? Why did you, Andre, why were you so successful at landing it early?
Oh, right, okay. I thought the question was to Andre. Yeah, I got off to a slow start and he landed with some sharp left hooks. I can't actually remember getting it with too many left hooks early on. I thought the left hooks came late on, to be honest. He's sort of out of range. He came in with a left hook off the fake jab. Very sharp. Great punch. Didn't really see it coming. What am I going to do? I got off to a slow start. It was sloppy. And you get hit with a punch. That's what you do when you're fighting. If you're not careful, you get hit with a punch. So that's the left hook hit me. What can I say?
It was just, the shot that, made sense in the moment, because Carl comes with his hands down and he's got a long jab. And, I knew that I could, I figured out during the fight that, I could explode in with a left hook or counter with a left hook, use a check hook, hit him with a hook and then get out of there. So, and I know he felt some of those hooks. And I just think that, with this victory, it's just time to give me some just due in terms of my physicality, in terms of my punching power, in terms of my toughness. I'm not just a slick fighter who's just slippery and tries to pick and poke away to a victory. We earned this victory tonight, just like we've earned every victory in this tournament. And I told some of the media and took exception to some of the questions that they asked, because some of the guys came up and said, well, do you have to fight a perfect fight to win this fight? Or, what do you have to do to stay away from his power? And I said, well, with all due respect, I'm not here just to eke out a victory. I said, with a fight like this with so much on the line, you have to take it. And Carl's not going to give it to me. I'm not going to give it to him. So you have to go take it. And I felt we did that. And I just feel like we should get a little bit more respect in some of the categories that keep coming up and keep getting questioned in terms of toughness, in terms of chin. I mean, we fought some of the biggest punchers in this division throughout the last 2.5 years. And I've given as much as I've taken. So just overall, I think the victory was a solid victory, but I think that we should get, again, some credit in some of those areas that keep coming up, the questions that keep coming up. I mean, we've been proving ourselves time and time again in these categories and in these areas.
Andre, how did your hand injury affect your fight in the first 6 rounds? And then,
how'd you hear about that?
Oh, we heard about it afterward.
Okay.
How did it affect you in the first 6 rounds? And then when you said you had heard it in the 6th round, how did your fight change for the remainder of the fight?
I'm gonna be honest. The hand was a scary situation. We got here Wednesday, and we sparred Thursday in Atlantic City, and I hit one of my sparring partners on top of the head. I felt the shot. I kept sparring, maybe a couple more rounds. Didn't think much of it. Took my gloves off, started to cool down, and I'm feeling around in this area, and I'm just, I told my team, I said, man, it feels weird. It feels like almost like a fracture. The next day, you know, it swelled up a lot more, and we went to the doctors. We got it on record. We went to the doctors in Atlantic City, and he said it wasn't a break, but it was a soft tissue damage right in here. If you can see, it's pretty swollen. And, I mean, since last Thursday, man, I've been icing like crazy. I've been doing, you know, everything. I've been, you know, putting it in Epsom salt, then back to the ice, and then back and forth. I've been falling asleep with ice bags on my hands. And it was just a tough situation because this is my lead hand. And, you know, here we are a week away from this fight, and, you know, my hand is hurting. So we made a few adjustments the last week, and it felt as good as it could feel today. And then, you know, in the 6th round, I hit Carl on top of the head or somewhere, you know, in the temple area, and I felt it again, man. And but I mean, I had no choice but to bite down. I had no choice. So I just tried to keep using it. A couple times I would wince if I hit him with a good shot, but, you know, I've seen fighters like Floyd Mayweather fight with one hand before. And, you know, as a fighter, you always know that day's going to come for you. And I wanted to be able to pull it out when my day came. So we were able to pull it off and keep using the hand. We had no other choice.
It was the official wording was a level 3 contusion. And we're just fortunate it wasn't his big toe.
That's a low blow, Dan.
I'm only joking.
Yeah, a couple of things. First, did you realize pretty early that he wasn't going to be able to really do damage to you, that you could, as long as you stayed away from a knockout, you'd be safe? And also, what does it mean for you to bring a championship back to Oakland?
Well, again, I mean, we didn't stay away. We pressed the action many times during the fight, so it wasn't about staying away. You know, I got hit with some good shots. I gave some good shots, and it was never really a point where I said, okay, you know, I can relax. In a 12-round fight, you can't relax. You know, I've seen many of fights where guys are dominating the fight and they get too comfortable, and it just takes one shot. So the first question, we never relaxed. It was never a point where I said, okay, I'm on cruise control. It just wasn't the case. In terms of how important this is to bring this back to the Bay Area, it's an unbelievable feat for the Bay Area as a whole. You know, the Bay Area gets a lot of negative press, and over the last 2 years, we've been able to bring the Bay Area some positive press and lift the Bay Area up in a positive light. And it's an unbelievable feeling. I'm just happy to be able to do my part.
Andre, when we spoke at your media day back in Oakland, you brought up a report about Sauerland possibly bringing in the winner of the Super 6 to Copenhagen should Kessler win. In fact, the report had a pretty lucrative deal in there. Now that you've won, I just spoke to Jean Bedard of Interbox, and he's made it no secret that they would like to target you next. Do you have a preference of who you'd like to fight next? I know, Dan, you've also dealt with Sauerland in the past with Abraham and such. What are your takes on who you would prefer?
Well, I'm going to just say this, and I'm going to be real about it. It wasn't time to talk about it before this tournament was over, but we've been in the boxing game a long time. And no disrespect to Butte and his team, but what they've done, they've sat back and they fought B-level and C-level guys, and he's done what he was supposed to do. He stopped him, he got him out of there, but he's been sitting back, waiting while we've been fighting for the past 2.5 years against top-level competition. So I don't have to go to Lucien Butte right now. We're going to sit back as a team. I'm going to rest, and we're going to see what's next. I'm open for a Kessler clash. I would love to get that rematch and settle that score since he feels like, you know, wasn't a legitimate victory. You know, he's an option. Going up to light heavyweight for the right fight, not campaigning up there, but for the right fight is an option. So we just got to sit back and see what makes sense. I think I've earned the right to pick the right fight, to be honest with you, for the right price.
You know, Andre and Carl said it going into this this fight Saturday night tonight, and that was that each one of them committed to 5 tough fights back to back to back. You know, it's one of the things that I loved about this Super 6 tournament is that it took all the politics and promoters and egos and everything else out of the equation, and you just had 6 of the toughest 168-pounders agreeing to fight one another. It shows you that Andre Ward will fight anyone. But we're going to get back. He deserves a rest. Not too long, though, Andre, okay? And believe me, every fight that we're going to have is going to have, it's just going to continue Andre's rise of being a pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world. That's the type of fights that are going to propel him to the greatness that we all know that he can achieve.
And then also on the Butte thing, you know, I mean, I'm not obviously a promoter, but that's a tremendous fight for Carl, you know, because I know Carl doesn't like Butte, and you know, and Andre Durrell, you know, to be perfectly honest, I think Butte has to beat somebody. I'm gonna just be frank with you. He has to beat somebody that's an A-level guy to get a shot. And again, we're going to sit back and see what makes sense and talk as a team, but off the top of my head, he has to beat somebody. He has to beat an A-level guy. You can't sit back and just take your time while everybody else is working hard and then come in and get the same pay that everybody else got. It don't work like that. You know, this is a sport. We talk a lot about toughness. We talk a lot about desire and all these different things, but we also use our brains. It's a business, and we're going to sit down and make a solid business decision as a team after this.
Carl? He sounded like a promoter there.
Carl,
any other questions?
Yeah. Carl, actually, Butte did say earlier today that if he couldn't, you know, get Andre, that he would like to fight you and shut you up. That's one thing. And then the other thing is, you had said that you thought that Kessler overlooked Andre. Now, what are your thoughts on that fight and Andre?
Which fight? Kessler and Andre?
Well, yeah. And then also,
yeah,
I want you to...
I stand by that. I do think Kessler maybe overlooked Andre. He flew out to Oakland a couple of weeks before the fight and maybe took him lightly. And I don't think he performed to the best of his ability on that fight. So I think Kessler can come again and maybe cause an upset in that fight.
Who's better between them two?
I think they're both great fighters, you know, they're both different fighters and styles make fights. I think Kessler's very, very tough and raw and strong and experienced. Andre's very slick, he moves well, he's very good defensively. You know, he's got more technical proficiency than what I give him credit for. Looking at him before the fight, I thought I was going to be able to nail him a little bit harder, so a little bit easier than what I could. I couldn't quite catch him. I know.
How about a fight with Butte? Would you take that?
Yeah, I'd definitely take the fight with Butte, 100%. You know, that's a fight I would 100% take.
Two more questions.
This is an open question for both fighters. Andre, do you feel that Carl deserves a rematch later down the line?
Yeah, I'd be open for that, absolutely. Why not?
And Carl, do you feel that you want to avenge this loss as well as the Kessler defeat?
I think when you get beat, you always want to avenge the loss, yeah, because you know you come away from a fight and you see where you went wrong. I need to go back and have a look at it. But obviously, as a fighter, as a warrior, as a man who's proud, then I want to try and put it straight. But you know, the fight's just happened an hour ago, so we can't talk about fighting again. The fight's been and gone. Andre's won the fight fair and square, but certainly it's a fight that I'd like in the future. You've not seen the end of me, that's for sure.
Last question, please.
Yeah, I got one. Since we're talking about this change, I mean, if it comes down and the money's right, would you be willing to go up to Canada where he's a bigger draw? Would you be afraid that you get an in-house decision, probably based on the fact that we're here in New Jersey and the 115 of
Look, I made Andre a promise. As a matter of fact, he twisted my arm for the last year and a half. He goes, get me to Las Vegas. I don't know what's there, the volcanoes, the Steve Wynn's water show, but we're going to be looking to go to Las Vegas, and whoever we challenge at that point, Viva Las Vegas. Is that where you want to go, Andre? Las Vegas? Huh? See, Tiffany's got it right, okay? You know what she just said to me? One of the other places that he fought at, not at Oakland, St. Lucia.
If we go to St. Lucia, I got to see Dan in those Speedos again. I'm not trying to see that. Las Vegas.
Oh, don't worry. No big thing. All right. Anyway, one last comment I do want to make before Carl and Eddie go. I thought they were a class act. Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, Barry Hearn, they've just been great throughout the whole promotion. Sky TV, you had a great partner there. All of their on-air talent and cameramen just great. And Carl, you were class all the way through it. You talked a lot, but you always just spoke your mind. Afterwards, you've been a man in defeat, and we're proud of you for holding up our sport the way you have. Okay? Thank you. Andre, thank you very much for the great ride. Let's keep it going. Thank you for all coming. We'll see you soon in Vegas.